Welcome to Jazz Guitar Lessons, where we help guitarists learn jazz faster, express themselves more fluently, and have fun along the way. My name is Mark, and if you're looking to learn jazz, form better practice habits, and especially if you enjoy a French accent, make sure to subscribe. Alright, welcome everybody. We are here with the winner of the March Madness, which was on the Jazz Guitar Fellowship for the tune with the Summertime, which was a great arrangement. So we have our guest here with the guitar, and we will tackle our top 3 questions, see how it can be most helpful. So I will maybe let you ask your first question, if I understand, was based around the melodic minor and applying it to a minor 2-5-1.
Right. I've been working on the melodic minor scale, and the issue is not so much about the scale, but the approach to learning it and creating ideas basically on a minor 2-5-1. And so the approach that I had was to take the minor 7 flat 5 and work on the melodic minor scale for that as a vamp, sort of as a vamp, and then the altered 5 chord as a vamp, and then the minor 6-9 chord. And then after that, I started working on the 2-5-1 progression in minor. And Great. There's so many resources that are out there that a lot of times the focus is on learn this line, learn that line, learn the other line. And for some reason, I don't process like that. I like to learn the scales, but not thinking of them as scales, but thinking of them as the pitches most appropriate at the time, and creating ideas. I've listened to a lot of music, and I create ideas that I think reflect my personality and try to put them together. However, of course, you have friends and it's like, oh, you need to learn this line, learn that line, learn the other line. And I was just curious about if that is really the way that people who have been successful in playing jazz guitar approach it. And the focus is on melodic minor because that's what I'm working on, but it applies to really anything.
Good question. Okay, I'll go grab the guitar and probably go on tangents and on segues and stuff, and you can interrupt me whenever you want, but I'll sort of start off by saying that the approach of nailing a certain chord quality and asserting it as a mode of melodic minor is great. Every single... Well, I'll wait until the desk makes it way down. It's way down. Hold on. Okay. Saying that, say, D minor 7 flat 5 is the 6th mode of F melodic minor. So going as you described, and saying, well, that's 6th degree melodic minor, that's great. Every single melodic minor mode can be thought of this way, and every single one of them, even the second mode stuff, they have their usage in common jazz language, for sure. Secondly, the fact that you're putting them back together is really the crucial step, because they each have a really strong pull. So if I were to vamp, like you're doing, say, D minor 7 flat 5 over D minor 7 flat 5 with a bass vamp and then continues, it is good to build some ideas. And for the record, this is also how I think as scales. It's a collection of pitches. It tells me the roadmap of which pitches are in, but as an improviser, I will tinker and I will go in and out of it chromatically and with rhythms, etc., right? So that's an extremely good approach. But memorized lines? Personally, I know the one, the Cry Me a River? Yeah, the Cry Me a River line. That's a lick. All the other licks are like stuff I picked up from Wes, and I think it's good, but I've never been one to either grasp lines like this, fully memorized, and I've never been one to teach that way either. So I think you're saying that you're on the right path. However, I'll tell you this. One, the approach of seeing, say you have D minor 7 flat 5 to G7 alt to C minor or something, as coming from these 3 different modes, and they're all modes of melodic minor, putting them back together, having the set of pitches, great approach. The next thing, in order to have lines that are more than one measure, I would assume that these jazz legends play with a certain skeleton background, which goes into that. namely, at first, the guide tones, the main ones. The guide tone being right on beat 1, and I'm going to be super pedantic, and I keep repeating this online, and every time we analyze a solo, we see it on paper, it's like, yeah, this is it. The third of the scale is going to be a really good signpost of where this is headed. So in the case of D minor 7 flat 5, it's got to be the F, naturally. Then, regardless of what mode that is, people will say I use low Korean. That's fine. If you use low Korean natural 2, F melodic minor, good. And then what we want to hear is that resolution. Da, da. So essentially, the line that I encourage anyone to memorize is more that skeleton guide tone line. And regardless of the set of pitches and or my own chromatic colorations of it, that line is like backbone. It's behind my ears all the time. And there's 3. And if you want, I can show you all 3. There's really 3 backbones. And this is an implicit line that whether it is played, whether they are played or heard, I can get and create my own riff within the set of pitches. And sometimes I may fall back down into that tool, which is change running. I pick up that tool from the toolbox and go, yeah, I'm resolving to the 3rd, and the 7th resolves itself, and I go up. I do the Cry Me a River lick on that 5. You know, even on the G, I can do the cry lick. Or variations of the beginning of that song. And that's it. So that'd be the simplest way to put it together. It's like memorize lines, yeah, not so much. Vamping individually, yeah. Putting it all back together to see where the tensions lead, awesome. And then defining, not memorized lines, but
Frameworks.
Frameworks, syntax is more important. Does that make sense? And would you like me to show you
Yes.
those? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna get in trouble here because my guys in the coaching, I always teach them, well, we're doing all of this and it's gonna all be C minor harmonic. So you can use all the 3 chords coming from that. So for this video, you guys have been watching me for a while, you'll go like, yeah, Mark is sort of, I'm going on a tangent because your work is even more specific, but the general approach of everything C harmonic minor also works. So frameworks start on the tonic of the 2 chord, namely ascending the D minor 7 flat 5 chord from the root, going 1, flat 3, flat 5, flat 7, resolving down that note to the B natural, so the 3rd of G. It's going to make sense once I play it, I promise. And then descending the scale up until we hit the 3rd of C. So it's essentially 1, tonic, 3, 3. Sounds something like this. I'll do it in quarter notes just for clarity. 2, 3, 4. Coming up. 1, 2, 3, 4. High an octave. Now we'd get in trouble because I go. If I did pure A flat harmonic minor, melodic minor, I would need to use a triplet like 1. But you can muster that the way you want. But so long we hear 2, 3, that's framework number 1. So first we're good. Yeah. Framework number 2 is hitting the 3rd of each, going down. So it's even simpler. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, down. Again with the full line. Again, I would need to cheat it out. So I will anchor on the change each 3rd. The first one has the tonic 3rd, 3rd, then this is 3rd, 3rd, 3rd. And the last one, which is even more interesting, is targeting the 5th of the 2 chord, the framework. So it's 5, right? To the 3rd of the G. and then ascending however you want, and to 5 of C. So flat 5 down, 3 and 5. As coming from harmonic minor, it's this one. If I butter it up with my G altered, that was, I played that was a wrong note. Okay, again, 3, 4, ba, da, da, da. So those are the 3 frameworks that I picked up from Bert Ligon, and he only shows them as all modes of major, so Dorian, Mixo, major, and then he does it all coming from C harmonic minor, but that's just the beginning of the approach. What's cool is that in that book, which I put a link here, it's called Connecting Chords with Linear Harmony. The bulk of the book is lines from players. Like, here's Wes. Look at the solo on In Your Own Sweet Way. Da-da-da-da. It's friggin' using that, one of the 3 frameworks. And here's a line from Michael Brecker. Here's a line from Charlie Christian. Here's a line from Pat Metheny. Here's a line from Randy Brecker. Here's a line from Mike Stearns. Here's a line from Coltrane. Here's a line from, you name it, Miles. Parker. And it always works. It always works. And his whole point in the book is we would be hard-pressed to find a good line on a record that does not fit into these 3 frameworks. There it is.
Okay. Wow.
I know that's a lot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is a lot. I can't wait to watch the video.
I'll send you the recording. Plus, by the way, I owe you that loom. I said I would do a loom. I will shoot you a loom in feedback to your summertime and maybe come up with some points or things to watch out for. I haven't done that. I've been really, really busy with existing and new students. We're, victim of my own success, if you will.
Yeah. Okay. Basically, I think you really have addressed all 3 of my questions, but perhaps I could show you an example of. I can't wait to get the frameworks because I'm gonna approach that for sure. In terms of lines, by the way, I'm not opposed to them. I often will, if I see a line and it's supposed to serve a particular purpose, I'll play it, but I don't have a good track record of like memorizing them. And I may actually study it, but at the end of the day, if somebody asks me 5 days later what was that line, I probably would not have it. I may have a lot of information about it, but I probably wouldn't have it. So I like to play other people's good players' lines, but that's not how I find that I can try to create things when I study and understand a little bit better what's going on, as opposed to just grabbing a line.
I'm the same.
So,
I'm the same.
yeah.
Like, I will study a line, I will dissect it, I will learn it, I will back and front and just analyze the whole process, and then I will wind up being in a state where I just absorbed everything. It's like reading a book. Like, I'm reading this book. Could I recite a sentence from that book? I know what he said, like I know the point, but I can't have the sentence or the paragraph memorized. And that's fine. The big idea is more important.
The framework, I like the idea that you have this framework, and then if I can keep that melody going in my mind for particular situations, in this case a minor 2-5-1, then I can use all of the other things that I'm learning to decorate that framework. That's how I'm thinking about it. But anyway, I want to play just a little bit, and since you can edit, edit out what doesn't work. I was playing up here primarily. That's the other thing. There's these zones, and so down here I don't have the zones worked out so much.
Okay.
I take them like one at a time and go through them.
That's good.
But anyway, so I'm sort of thinking right here. See, I'm so nervous I can't even play. Okay, so for that's the sound. And I might play, oh, I know I could play better than this. Now that's I'm landing on a 6 there, but I
Yeah.
didn't necessarily do that. So let me try. And the thing is, I couldn't play that again for real. Uh so I might go. So
Great.
that's a lot. And I might make up in a I as a part of my practice, I will just sit and I will just try to listen because I'm trying to hear these things. So I will try to listen and see if I can right then create something. Of course, they're all using the same ingredients, so it's not like anything greatly original, but that's the approach I'm doing. And if I think if I put that framework in the back of my mind or in my ear as I'm doing that, that may make these my lines. See, I love my lines.
Yeah.
Make my lines stronger.
Agreed.
So, and since I can't play, you can edit all of that out,
No,
honestly.
but
uh,
the point you're making is great because to me, by creating your line, you grab the material, you see it as a collection of pitches, you address the technicality of the instrument because instrument, but at the same time you retain the exploratory nature of your improv, which is, we're not robots. We don't want to plug and play, like be correct with the appropriate scales. Like it's just a framework. You got this, and the more you rehearse the technique and stuff, the more your own stuff will just organically come out. So you're on the right path.
okay.
And
So you don't do you have the impression that like I like Grant Green. I
oh
like
yeah,
I like everybody. Um I just don't imagine them sitting around memorizing lines. So I guess that's the other resistance that I have to that kind of approach. But I think they digested a lot of that from listening.
yeah.
And so I'm trying to figure out how to do it in this day and time where you're not in a jam session every other night.
Hey guys, just a quick note. If you're enjoying this content and you're eager to boost your own jazz guitar playing, then connect with us. We've transformed the jazz skills of thousands of guitarists. You can find the link in the description or head directly over to jazzguitarlessons.net to begin your journey. All right, let's dive back into the episode.
I'm trying to figure out how to replicate that experience without actually having it
Yeah,
that much.
that was my next point. Like they played so much just by osmosis. They sat down, every night. Wes, after hours from 8 a.m. through 3 a.m. 5 nights a week. It's like we're never have this volume of rehearsal. It's not even rehearsal. That's just when they played in public. Plus, Wes went back home and practiced a little more, just to be sure. So we can use the softwares, but there's like two things I had in mind. Because you mentioned the zone. So as far as zoning, I would highly recommend, whether you block it like caged or any other way, that you have these different areas. And I have a precise exercise for you if you're interested, I can get back to. But also another tangent to that is maybe trying out 3 to 4 different keys. Just because when I get back to C, it's like there's something that clicks because I can relativize easier. So if I did G minor, right, I'll do A minor 7 flat 5, right, to D, alter it to G minor, and then just go, okay, that's a
C.
C
Oh,
melodic
C
minor.
melodic minor. Okay.
Yeah. So doing that mental work, because we never just play in C all the time in songs.
Right.
So that's one of the things I would do. And if you're ready, I can give you another, not a framework, but another way to work on the framework. No, not work out of that 3 framework, but to work on the fingering physical aspect of this instrument in a way that can help you build better lines. Unless you have any questions before we can.
Well, I do practice clarification. I can play, for example, any particular melodic minor I find the root and I can play it all over the guitar.
Okay.
I can do that. Uh, but I've just started really focusing on trying to make good shifts from the 2 chord to the 5 chord and to the 1 minor. But that I don't feel so familiar, even though I know the scales here, I know I'm here, I know I'm there. It's just that's the thing about it's not a trumpet. See,
Ah,
so
it's hell. I
so,
know.
so
Yeah.
yeah, so that becomes difficult. But yeah, so that's I
Okay.
think I'm on the road to doing that, and I do see it as 5 blocks, pretty much 5 areas.
Okay.
Uh, but I don't know that I'm necessarily caged. I haven't
Uh,
defined that and said
Yeah.
I'm doing using cage.
It's
Uh,
semi-cage, yeah. It's like you see it. It's yeah. I'm not too pedantic. I'm not dogmatic with
yeah.
the systems of positions either. But good. The what you mentioned about the making the good transition is that's where the juice is really. And the thing I wanted to get across to you is there's a way I would say if I block it off as fifth position, just because you mentioned it's something you're not as familiar with. So we'll go here, and go D, and then go F. Okay. Just running the scale like this and not having it in time, just mapping it out and then go. Right? Just making sure it's fully mapped out there and then, okay, my C. And doing that work out of time, then and there. And then one cool thing that would be more like an exercise I can put on my iReel and show you is what if I played strictly across the bar line while that chord is changing and I prevented myself from changing direction. Because that's one of the problems with some of my students. Like they will start a line, it's beautiful, it's nice, and then the chord changes, they make the switch like, there's like this huge break point that happens. So if I can play fluidly across the bar lines and make it positional as well, then your own inspiration will have an easier time shining through. But that's the technical difficulty of the guitar, if you will. That's the realm of fretboard.
Okay, does that mean like let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm doing a long 2-5-1.
Okay. Perfect. Nailed it.
I'm practicing that as well.
Okay, you are.
So
And
yeah.
then you can confront yourself with different starting notes. Now it's easy once you always start on the same one, but then say you reach the end of your position, it's like, oh, it starts going backwards, but I will put my iReel on like 30 repeats, right? And I will just run that, and I will get stuck in a corner if there's a point that I'm not sure where the next finger is. And that training is what is exploding my, like the availability of the next notes or the next note or next notes will just become more intuitive. But that's different from like jamming, playing. It's more, this is like drilling, so hard drilling.
Okay.
But it can come in handy. They call it big scale. And then once you get good at the separate positions, you can do it in no position.
There's a
You do
name.
it.
That's called big scale because that's what I'm doing. Is I'm trying to just hit the next
Yeah,
note, but sometimes it's not the third, right?
exactly.
It's not maybe perhaps the strongest note. It is just a note that is appropriate for that particular melodic minor scale.
Yeah, it's
Right.
one note,
Okay.
one in your pitch collection, right?
Right.
And I can demonstrate some of that because then
Yes.
I have to let you go. But
And then it's
the
yeah.
the next thing to do with that would simply to have it be in no particular position and to cover the entire register, which would mean I start with my lowest available note. Sorry, cat hair, there's floaties here. Um, I start here, say my F is the lowest one. I will go up and then I switch to A flat melodic minor and then eventually I'll go like, okay, I cap this at 15th fret and go back down. But the thing is like the track may not be the point where I'm used to switching. So that's
Uh-huh.
big scale. I'll just demonstrate for the purpose of video. Check this out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Sorry.
Uh-huh.
But
That's okay. I'm gonna tell you that right there. I'm on that.
good. Because then it will occur that, oh, look, the next one available is just a half step. Oh, look at that. And it's like minimizing that thing. And when I get to my solos, it's like the intuition of where that next available note is there, up or down, anywhere on the fretboard. And there's not going to be a jerky stopping point to my line. If I hear something, it's going to hear.
Or skip 5 octaves.
Oh, yeah. Great work.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope it's gonna be, since you can edit, I hope it's gonna be good video.
It's great. Thanks for getting the stuff out. Please keep coming to Fellowship. It's just a pleasure to hear you play. And I'll let you go.
I wish I could play better in front, but that's okay.
That's part of the game. Thank you.
Bye.